The topics and opinions expressed on the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4WN Radio, its employees, or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4WN Radio.
Welcome to my radio and TV show, Debbie Changes Lives. I'm Debbie, your certified holistic health coach. I revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset and guide them to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. Now, one thing I want to let you know, as a health coach, I'm not allowed to say that I heal, treat, cure, prevent, or diagnose any diseases. I can certainly make your body more efficient by reducing symptoms. You'll feel better, be more productive, and enjoy life more. Not many people have released 70 pounds, have become a half marathon runner, and kept fit and trim for over a decade. I have, and I have staying power. I even became, at 51 is when I started running for the first time. And I never ran from childhood to adulthood to foot pain. And I've done 8 half marathons. Mindset is a key to lasting change. And as I said before, as a certified holistic health coach, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. And I guide them to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrients. And I create a custom holistic strategy just for them. And what I do is I optimize people's health, efficiently release weight when needed, and enhance your mindset. With my clients, I help them recognize that their thoughts, feelings, and emotions drive their actions and results. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. That's why it's crucial to have a positive mindset in life. It's also imperative to manage those emotions like fear, frustration, and doubt, because all they're going to do is slow you down and get you stuck mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Like a hot air balloon that has ballasts, I help my clients release those emotional ballasts and baggage so they can uplift to a better, happier life. And in turn, they are releasing their stress, reshaping their core beliefs, and they're getting healthier. You will see and feel the differences with my coaching program. Ask me about them. Set up a complimentary consultation at Debbie Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives. LIV as in victory, ES.com/linktree. And I will guide you to that better, happier, healthier life with custom national solutions unique to you in the areas of mind, body, and soul. Now, I have this collaboration with Alan Stevens, which is the online webinar, Your Face Reveals, Your Mind Transforms. It is on October 22nd at 7 p.m. Now, my topic is Master Your Mind and Transform Your Life. So what I'm going to help you is identify stress and emotions and how to release them so you can live a more fulfilling, healthier life. And Alan's going to be talking about unlocking the secret language of your face. He's an international profiling communication specialist. And what he's going to do is he's going to reveal how facial features have a hidden truth. And now for more information, you can go to bit.ly/Your Face Reveals, Your Mind Transforms. And I have an early bird coupon for you that you can save $10, and it ends on October 1st. So if you want to do this and want to save $10, reach out to me at my link tree. Now, as a parent, we always want our children to succeed, don't we? And it's stressful to tutor our high schoolers and college students, especially if it's a topic beyond our scope. I am thrilled to have Michael Wish, a coach, mentor, and founder of Velle Logos, an educational company that's devoted to mentoring high school and college students toward personal, academic, and career success. With a background in teaching and coaching, Michael helps young adults build confidence, develop purpose, and make informed life decisions. His work blends practical guidance with deep understanding of today's challenges that all students face. And he's developed a unique mentorship that blends coaching and incorporates life skills with educational strategies. His goal is to have high school students and college students to thrive academically, grow personally, and step confidently into their future. So today, we'll be discussing how to unlock student confidence and success. So let's welcome Michael Wish, coach, mentor, and founder of Velle Logos. Michael, welcome to my show.
Hi, Debbie. Thank you so much for having me on.
Oh, you're sure welcome. You well deserved it. I got to say that he is an awesome coach, and that's something that we're going to find out a little bit more about him. So, what inspired you to start Velle Logos, and what does that name mean?
Yeah, I know it's a weird name. Everybody gives me a hard time about it, but it's the Velle part is Latin, and it means to want or to desire, and Logos is Greek for the truth. And so just having been an academic and spending a lot of time with the Western tradition, I wanted to blend those two languages together. And then my last name is Wish. So a desire or a wish for the truth just seemed really, really cool to me. So that's what it means. And what inspired me to start it is that I tutored for many years. I tutored mostly STEM subjects, physics and math and coding. But after working with many of the same students for a really long period of time, the sessions became less about the math and the physics and more about life and how do I study smarter. And everybody else seems to be putting in less work, but getting better grades. I want to work out. They wanted to improve their lives in a lot of different ways. And so really a lot of my tutoring sessions turned into coaching sessions. And so that's how Velle Logos was born.
That's fabulous, because no one, as a tutor would really have gone out and reached out and think about this and do this. So kudos to you, because our college students are really facing, and also high school students, a completely different world right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what are your biggest challenges facing high school and college students today? And I just kind of tripped right into
What
that.
a transition. Yeah, that was perfect.
And how are you helping them to overcome these challenges?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenges that students face today are that the world is changing so much faster, right? I mean, the world has been changing faster for many years now, but really it just feels like everything's on the accelerator pedal right now. And the future is it's always difficult to imagine what the future is going to be like. But I think for a lot of young folks, they're seeing the college promise not fail, but certainly not work out for the generation in front of them like it was supposed to. And then they're watching all these changes with AI and everything that's going on in that space. And so there's a lot of trepidation and a lot of anxiety, I think, around identity and what my role is, what their role is going to be in the world, and trying to navigate that process. So it's a lot of times it's less about the school and the classes themselves, which can be stressful in and of themselves, but a lot about life and career and trying to get a whole picture and vision for your identity and who you want to be.
And I don't know, when I was growing up, there was a book, What's the Color of Your Parachute? Something like that.
That's a great title. I'd read that. Yeah.
Where you had to figure out what you really wanted to do in life. And, today's world with AI and everything, it can be very beneficial for people if they're allowed to use it. Some colleges don't allow it in certain classes.
Yeah.
But it can be very beneficial if you use it properly. So with those two type of ideas, what would you comment on that?
Yeah. So, I mean, the first step is to put the AI away for a moment, right? AI is important and we can absolutely use it in a lot of different processes, but we do have to be aware of what it's good at and what it's not good at. And what it's not good at is doing the hard work that you need to do as a person to figure out what that vision, what that identity looks like. And so my solution for that is to put it away for a moment and spend some time writing with a piece of paper and a pencil. I don't care how bad the handwriting is or how bad the grammar is, but you have to sit down and you have to do a little bit of hard work with yourself, and you have to imagine and really chart a vision for who you want to be. Not just 5 years or 10 years from now, but 20 years from now. And not just what do I want to be when I grow up, for career wise, although that's important, obviously, but more like, what kind of person do you want to be? Are you a pillar of the community? Are you involved in a religious organization? Are you married? Do you have kids? That's really hard to do for young folks because it just seems so far away. It's just it's an infinite number of years away. I'll never be that old. But it reminds me of a story where I had a neighbor who invited me over for a board game night, and it was a really complicated board game. And he was an articulate guy. He could communicate well, but he kept telling me about how the game worked and the pieces. And the first question that I really needed to answer to was, buddy, what's the goal? Like, what is the end state? How do I win? And that's how we actually learn. We start at the end and we envision what that looks like. And then we backtrack and figure out how we get there and learn strategies and those sorts of things. So that's what I ask students to do, or young folks to do. You don't have to be a student. Is you have to set that initial long-term vision for yourself and identity. And then we can backtrack and we can find a system to help you get there.
Yeah, and with my clients, I call it wonder storming. So what do you want your end goal to be? And but you are creating this big, huge picture for yourself. I help with weight release and health and mindset. So it's like, what do you want to look like? How do you want to celebrate when you finally get to that goal? Who are the people that you want with you?
Yeah.
And then I have like little outline things for them to, think about, to structure some ideas regarding, mindset and everything else, which are some things that they fill out, as well as, things that kind of bother them in the past. So they really need to really reshape their core beliefs and also, broaden them.
Yeah.
And open them up to different possibilities. So that's what I do with my Wonder Storm, which is, very similar to what you're doing. You're creating that final picture and you're reverse engineering so you can create these steps to get there.
That's
and,
right.
With life, things kind of change up, but they always know what their final picture is going to be. They're going to get there.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point, because, some people say mantras don't work and things like that don't work. But I have people do a vision board, and vision boards are something they can look at, especially if they're visually inclined, because I'm sure you're a tutor and a teacher and a coach. Everyone learns in a different style, whether it's visual, auditory, or some people just, I'm more of like a visual person than auditory. And so when it comes to my clients, I figure out what's going on with them as well. And I'm sure you do the same for your students.
I do. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. The data actually shows that we can all learn in all of those modalities just as equally well, but we do tend to have preferences, right? I mean, we like to watch movies, most of us, rather than read, although I'm opposite. I like to read a lot. You can learn in all four. And I mention that because sometimes we can convince ourselves that we can't learn in some of those domains when we're actually capable. And I don't want anyone to sell themselves short. But you're 100% right that we all have preferences. Some people love to listen to podcasts. Other folks love to read a book. And so essentially what that vision board is, it's the ultimate goal. It's you've put into the real physical world what you're imagining that future to be. And then it serves as a constant reminder to you. So that's exactly right. It's a really great thing to do.
Yeah, and that's what I have my clients do.
Yeah.
Now, you may have mentioned a little bit of this already, but can you walk us through your mentorship process and how do you support the students practically?
Yeah, so I think practically is the imperative word of that sentence, because if you can't put it into practice, then it's maybe nice, fun motivation, but it doesn't actually help. So after we get done with the first step, that I call it the self-authoring, where we sit down and write about your future, and the kids don't always love that step, but we get through it. We do the hard part, which is to identify what are the differences, right? So, I often might get a young person that says, well, they want to be wildly rich when they're old. Of course, we all want to be, maybe not everybody, but we dig into why. We find out, why do you want to be wildly rich? And it turns out, they really want to travel, or, they really want to give it away, right? They want to be very charitable. And so we get into those fun bits, and then we figure out, okay, well, where are you today? Okay, you're not giving today. And I'll ask them why. And the answer is, well, I don't have that much money. They say, okay, but we could give $1 a week. And my point here is that it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire and you're giving away thousands of dollars, or if you're kind of making it by, but you're giving away what you can. That's the kind of person you want to be. You're not going to become a millionaire and just magically become the kind of person that gives it away. And so the idea is that when you're young, we can implement those habits and those lifestyles and those values now, even in really small ways, so that in 10, 15, 20 years, we don't have to try to do a bunch of work on ourselves to catch up. And we do that by establishing habits. And I use James Clear's Atomic Habits model is wonderful for this.
That book.
The problem with James, and it's like probably one of the best books ever written. I love it. But one of the problems with James Clear's book is he doesn't tell you what habits you should try to implement, right? It's a beautiful system for learning how to implement good habits and kicking bad habits, but it doesn't say which ones you should do. So I did a lot of research, digging through the literature, and I found what I call keystone habits. These are the 4 or 5 habits that everyone should absolutely implement. So I always start with those before I let the students or look at their own path and pick their own. And so, for me, those are sleep. Getting the same bedtime every night is actually just as important as the amount of sleep you get.
Yes.
Waking up every morning and writing down 3 priorities, writing down 3 gratitudes before you go to sleep, and then a little bit of a mindfulness practice and a little bit of an exercise habit. Those 4 right there, if you were to just implement a small version of those, the difference of who you are now and who you'll be in a year, 5 years, 10 years is going to be enormous. So we start with those keystone habits, and then I allow them to work on what I call the gap habits, the things that they want to do, that they want to implement in order to get from where they are to where that vision is. So we work on that step by step with James Clear's system. And then at the end, we reinforce it by, I ask them to then turn around and teach, coach, mentor others, because it turns out we are more than happy to let ourselves down, right? You start a diet and, who cares? I'll just have the donut. But we really don't like to let other people down. And so if I place someone in a responsibility, either as an accountability team or even, hey, you're in charge of these 3-4 people, now you feel like you have to set the example and you really don't want to let those folks down. And so I find that a lot more success with that framework. So that's the short and practical version of how we get, from start to finish, get that dream transformation.
That's a wonderful framework. A lot of those concepts are things I have the adults do.
I hope so. Yeah.
Gratitude is people, I guess, as we get older, kids are so more open to things. And as adults, it's kind of like we just shut that off somehow. And because things that happen in our life and people said no, whatever the situation is in someone's life. But gratitude is so important, because even I say to people, even the smallest gratitudes add up, like sands in an hourglass. Yeah. And when they add up, it's going to just uplift your emotional energy and your feeling for joy and happiness. And that's going to elevate you vibrationally to a happier state. And you're going to have more energy and enthusiasm to do things for others and help people out, like you're saying. And, it's wonderful that you're teaching your students to tutor others as well. Because not only is that, showing them confidence and the subject matter they know, but also it shows them, I can do this, and I'm proving I can do this.
That's right.
And it's within the purpose that you want to do. They're just kind of like building that road.
Yeah, it comes with 3 huge benefits. Number one is that by teaching there's a learning method where you teach other people, and by teaching other people, you learn it better yourself. So by teaching other people the system, you end up becoming really good at the system, which is obviously a win-win. But then also too, it helps people communicate better. It helps them become more articulate. It helps them become more social. And we've seen from COVID that there's just been some social struggles, whether it's communication or communication across the sexes. So it just helps you get better working with people, which is so important. And then I think 3, it helps people become better leaders, right? If you're going to be a manager, if you're going to be in charge of anything, if you're going to be in a family, then you have to learn how to lead folks. And I think it starts with the servant leadership mindset of serving others first. And so I think it's nothing but a win-win to do that. But it is challenging for some folks. It's not an easy thing to step in and try to take responsibility for someone else. That's actually probably one of the hardest things to do.
And when it comes to leadership, another great author is Stephen Covey.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So, and he had his son, Sean Covey. It's more for kids. It's so cute. The book is so cute.
Yeah.
But my whole point is, I always recommend those books to parents so that they can, help their kids start doing that themselves. And, they can be in leadership roles, whether they're, I know scouting may not be as popular as it used to be, but those leadership roles are really important, whether it's on being in the debate team, whether it's being on a sports team. But scouting is another great alternative that was in the past, and hopefully it will come back better than it was in the past. Yeah. And my whole point is that they need to learn how to do leadership. It's not something that is innate into them.
Yeah, I mean, certainly people have some innate qualities that make it a little bit easier. So it certainly makes the transition into leadership easier if you're a slight extrovert, because you're already kind of prone to working with people. Mm-hmm. Certainly if you have if you're a little bit more articulate, say on the outset, but yes, like all of those skills can be learned. And I think the most important thing from a mindset point of view, you spoke about mindset. That's something that you had to do in order to lose the weight and start running. That's something that everyone has to do. Mm-hmm. And one of the most important reframings that I think anybody can employ in their life is that everything that is going to make you better is going to be difficult. There's nothing that is going to make you better that's easy. So if you're experiencing hardship and you're trying to lead and you're struggling, or you're trying to learn and you're struggling, or you're trying to run and you're struggling, I would encourage everyone to try, and I'm not claiming this is easy, but to try to reframe that as, well, if I'm struggling, then I'm learning. And if I'm learning, then I'm growing. And usually, if you can reframe it that way, it makes it a little bit easier to withstand and push through to the next level. So,
and really, when it comes to perspective, the choice of the word difficult, well, it's something new that I haven't done before. And I don't know until I do it.
That's right. Yeah. I have two values on that point that I really push hard. And the first is to be aggressively curious. Yes. And that applies not just in the classroom, but in your life. I wonder if I could run. Okay, be aggressively curious about it. And if it's really hard, that's okay. Just go find out. Go find out what you're made of. Go find out how hard it actually is. And a lot of times people will really surprise themselves. If they're aggressively curious, suddenly something that they thought was just terrifying and hard, you go, you know what, that wasn't so bad. And you try it again and you try it again. And then the other value is to experiment joyfully. And I think a lot of people, this really goes along the lines of the reframing I talked about earlier. But if you can experiment joyfully, then the emotions that are entangled with failure tend to be much lighter. So if I go out and I go for a run and I try to run a mile and I don't make it, I want to treat that like a little experiment. And so what I found out is I couldn't run a mile today. Like for whatever reason today, I couldn't run a mile, but maybe I could run one on Friday, or maybe I could run one next month. And so if you treat all these little actions, these little things like experiments, then when you fail, because you're going to fail, it's just inevitable, then it's not a failure. It's data. It's, okay, on that Thursday, on that route, after being sore and not getting much sleep, it turns out I couldn't run a mile that day. And that's okay. And I think instead, a lot of folks make the mistake of tying that failure up with their identity or associating it with their capability. And that's really destructive.
It's a learning moment.
That's right. Yeah.
And so for me, I was always told I can never run. I actually had a problem with my feet being painful. I had to have cortisone injections and all this other stuff. And boy, that was painful. Yeah. But when I realized after changing the way I ate and the supplementation I took, I was like, not only am I getting more energy, it's not hurting so much.
Right. Yeah.
And I eased on a treadmill, and I replaced 40 to 50 minutes walking on a treadmill with running over time.
Great.
And then I asked my friend, I told her I was doing, she was a runner. And she said, oh, that's nothing. You got to come running out with us. I'm like, okay. And I started doing that. And then after a while, I we did 7 miles. I hit a wall. And she goes, you finally hit a wall. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I can tell you, I'm telling you this story for a reason. And then later, she asked me to do a half marathon. I looked at her and went, are you nuts? She says, not as hard as you think. I'm like, okay. So I did it. And I got so excited with that stampede. I actually lost her.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
Slow down. And I finished before her. And she said, you said, you did so fantastic. Congratulations. And I said, that's when the half marathoner was.
Yeah, wow.
So you really don't know until you do it. And I run, normally I used to run 5 to 6 miles a day, about 5 days, 4 to 5 days a week. I broke my foot. And then I had to go that learning moment again. I was like, oh. But I got through that. I fell a few times and had some injuries, but I got through it. And I got back to running again. So no matter what, there might be obstacles in your way, whether it's educational obstacles, whether it's physical obstacles, or whether it's and what's going on with relationships. Or you can always navigate through those obstacles.
Yeah, I found that's why one of my keystone habits, not mine, one of the what the literature says is important is mindfulness and being aware of your thoughts, because it's unavoidable to have bad thoughts. It's unavoidable to get down on yourself. It's unavoidable to experience intense emotions, especially in difficult times. But I find that a lot of folks aren't aware. They're not fully aware of what they're thinking most of the time. And the problem with that is if what you're thinking is negative constantly, then you're in a trap. It's going to affect your mood. It's going to affect your sleep. It's going to affect your stress levels. And so just a simple mindfulness practice, take 1 minute a day and try to pay attention to your breath. Try to feel what it's like to lose focus in seconds, right? Because you can't not think for a whole minute. You have this crazy clown in your head that's just constantly saying idiotic things to you. And what you realize is in those down moments that you're caught in this trap of catastrophizing. Well, I broke my foot, so I won't get back in running next week. And then I won't run for a year and I'll never run again. And and you just make these ridiculous leaps. You will still do that. But if you're aware that you do that, you'll catch yourself and you go, oh, I'm going to stop that train of thought. And that's a superpower. Yeah.
We run 5% conscious brain. The subconscious runs 95% of our thoughts. And so what happens, it kind of splashes all these things into your brain, and you got to learn to control that too. I mean, on average, men, I guess, are 60,000 thoughts a day. Women are 80,000 thoughts a day. It's a really large number that people have no idea. But you can quiet down those thoughts by deep diaphragmatic breathing. And I have box breathing, and there's other breathings you could do, alternate nasal breathing. And another thing that I do is I've been trained with acupressure, and that's really helped quite a bit because I just used it with my breathing, and I meditate with the acupressure, and I just feel so much better, and it's melting away the stress out of my neck. So those are signs that you're stressed when you have a really tense neck, and your jaw is tense, and because it's not meant to be that way. You need to be able to open your mouth like that without it being so tense, and feel better about yourself. So there's many different techniques for that. And the main idea is recognizing the signs of tension. Recognize the signs of, an upset stomach. Recognizing the signs of fatigue.
Right.
And, and a lot of people don't pay attention. They just kind of go, go, go. And you can do things more in a flow rather than go, go, go. Once you learn. It's amazing that time will pass, but you'll find out you're more productive than you've ever been. So that's all I can say. So now, do you have an success story of a student whose life changed through your guidance?
Of course. So I worked with a young lady a couple of years ago, and she was in pre-calculus, which is a notoriously difficult math subject because kids don't feel like it applies to anything ever. There's some truth to that. And she was very stressed, and I was working with her, and one day I could tell she was not paying attention, right? We were halfway through. I asked her a question. She answered something totally different. She wasn't present. So I said, hey, let's set the math aside and let's just chat for a moment. And I asked her all the things that she was doing. So this is a very smart young lady, very accomplished. She's at a private school. Like when I was that age, my life was a mess, right? So this young person is light years ahead of me at that age.
Okay.
But she was competing to try to get into an Ivy League school, and their family had hired a mentor to help her do all the things that you need to do to compete. And I mean, it's so difficult. So, she had signed up for everything. And I asked her to go through the list of all the activities and extracurriculars that she was in. And it was a mountain. And one of the things that she mentioned was a study hall program that she was in charge of facilitating. So she was sitting in a classroom from like 8 to 11 p.m. 3 times a week to just run a study hall. And in her mind, and I think in the mentor's mind, that this was really great because it was 2 birds, 1 stone. I can be in this room and get credit for having run this program, and then I can also study at the same time. And the problem is that she wasn't able to study there. She was constantly being interrupted, kids asking where a vending machine was or bathroom, or kids asking for help because she was very smart. And honestly, sometimes she just needed to go to bed on time and having to stay up that late was interfering with that. And the big problem that she was suffering from wasn't even that. It was the fact that she wasn't confident enough to tell her folks and her mentor that this was too much. And she was having, sometimes young folks especially have a hard time being disagreeable. And obviously her parents had spent good money on this mentor and on this private school she was in. And so she was just under this enormous pressure. So we worked on a mindfulness practice, and we worked a little bit on developing some communication methods and some confidence for her to be able to go to her folks and mentor and explain why this was probably not the best activity for her to be involved in. And it wasn't going to change whether she got into an Ivy League school or not. So it took a couple of weeks, and we worked on it, and she was able to bring it up, and they immediately agreed with her because she's articulate and smart and had made her case well. But for me and for her, it was more about the win of having the confidence to be able to, go to her parents and go to this mentor and explain something that made her very uncomfortable, was disagreeing with these folks that she loved and wanted the best for her, but were still in kind of positions of authority. And so, I hope she did get into a great school, and I haven't worked with her in a while now, but hopefully she's doing wonderful things. And when she needs to be, she's being a little bit more disagreeable, So that's the success story that comes to mind almost every time when someone asks me that, because she just really transformed over the year that I worked with her. It was really great.
Well, that's fantastic. But, she had to do some kind of project, I guess. And that's what that project was, the study hall. And maybe they could have cut back some of the hours. So she wouldn't be,
right.
And be cloudy minded and be able to, function better and be happier,
Right. Yeah.
So, you know what? Girls are people pleasers.
Yes. I do more work with young girls on the disagreeable part than boys. Boys seem to be ready to fight and argue at everything. So I got to get them to calm down a little bit,
Yeah, but girls tend to be people pleasers. But it doesn't hurt to speak up and say it in a positive way so that they can really see, oh, this is an issue.
Yeah.
Well, that person really needs to do, right?
Yeah.
So now, how can parents, educators, or mentors support the next generation more efficiently?
More efficiently. I would say counterintuitively, let them figure it out. And that can be really difficult. I have seen a lot of students they're so overhelped, and their folks are involved, which is wonderful. But at the end of the day, you're not going to grow up unless you go out on your own a little bit. And so I think probably one of the best things that we can do is let kids make their own mistakes, guide them and coach them and warn them, of course, but let them spread out, let them go it alone a little bit, and let them fall. And then when they need, they come back and they get that help and that guidance, and they go back out again. And let them rough and tumble a little bit. Now, it's not exactly maybe more efficient. It doesn't seem efficient, but in the long run, it's an efficiency gain. So in the short run, I'm very guilty of this. I have a wonderful 8-year-old little girl who she's the best. But I have a hard time. I want to do things for her, right? Because we're in a hurry, and I'm like, I'll just wash the dish for you because I'll do it better and I'll do it faster, but I have to let her do it. And I think that's a common theme. In the short run, yes, I'll do it faster and better, but in the long run, she's never going to learn how to wash her own dishes. And I know that might be a silly example, but I see that over and over and over again. So I think it's really important.
Yeah. And, kids are afraid to make mistakes, and they shouldn't be. It's okay to make a mistake. It's a learning moment. You grow from it. And you may find a better solution when you make mistakes. Was it Thomas Edison that took forever to create a light bulb?
Right. Yeah. He found 2,000 ways to not make a light bulb, I think is
Exactly. So thank you for coming up with that numeric fact.
Yeah.
But, I'm not perfect. I don't know. I'm sure you're not perfect. And it's just, you need to work at things, and you need to, and what I mean by work at things is just let things happen that may not be agreeable to people, because, and deep down inside, you got to say something, right? But then get over it. Yeah.
Let it go. Yeah. That's right.
Way too short, and things are not going to always happen the way you wish it would happen. Yeah. But always find a really good solution if everyone's open to it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. People need to be open to it, and people need to understand where someone's coming from. They need to understand the perspective. They can't just decide for people.
Yeah.
And don't you agree? Just like we can't decide for our kids. They got to really want to have a certain occupation.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a balance. Obviously, as a parent, you're hopefully a little bit wiser, and you've been around, and, you want to guide them and warn them, and you should. They have a responsibility to do that. At the end of the day, these are human beings, and they have to chart their own course. That's why I call my course the self-architect course, because everyone creates their own destiny and their own vision. So I think it's really important to let them do that.
Yes. A little bit early for the offer, but why don't we talk about it since you mentioned it?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah. So I've built a free community so that everybody's welcome to join. But for any of the clients that I get, or that join the community from your show here, I'm more than welcome to work with them for free for a month. So free coaching for a month. And, we'll work through this framework. Sometimes I get folks that are way ahead and they want to jump right to habits, and don't be mad at me. I'm going to make you start over. We go from the very beginning. We try to figure out who you are, who you want to be. We do the hard work of figuring out what the difference is. And sometimes that can be painful. We work on the keystone habits. We help you build your gap habits. So those that you want to build. And then we figure out how to implement them in your life. We do use a little bit of AI to help us with that, to come up with ideas and brainstorm different ways to fit those things in, because it's just a great tool. And then, I'm going to ask you to teach, coach, and mentor others to do the same.
Yeah. So there's a lot of interaction in your community, which is really important. True.
So I will, for your viewers, I'll warn you, we just switched platforms. Yeah, so there is a lot of action, but we're migrating over. This platform is a little bit easier for folks to find, I think, and a little bit simpler for people to use. And I want it to be simple, and I want it to be easy. So you'll see folks will start flooding in here shortly. So.
Okay. Well, So you can join his free community. I guess the first 5 will get that 1 month coaching.
That's right. Yep.
And it's
we meet once a week, and then
after that, because I don't know when they're going to come in as a flow.
Oh yeah.
But you go to www.school, but it's spelled SKOOL.com.
It is
/self dash
architect. That's right. Yep. Yeah,
because
that's the name of it.
Designing your own life.
That's right.
So that is beautiful, Michael.
Well, thank you.
That's a wonderful offer. And you can be brightening so many souls out there to have a magnificent life. So would you like to be a guest again?
I would love to be a guest again, of course.
Okay, fantastic. So please stick around for closing remarks. You'll have some time to say some more if you want.
Okay, great. Yeah.
And so remember, I do revitalize people's lives in many different areas of health and mindset. I start with their gut, and I also start with mindset because that's the gut-brain connection. There's also a heart-brain connection as well that I help people with too. But I also help with bone and joint, blood sugar, brain and heart, as well as immunity, hormones, anxiety, obviously. And also I do help people with athletes due to my own, experience. And I guide them to clean, toxic-free foods and high-quality essential nutrient products that will reduce symptoms. They'll feel better. If they need to release weight, they might be releasing weight, but it's definitely going to uplift their mood. With my mindset coaching, I help them release stress, emotions, entanglements from the past, and guide them in reshaping their core beliefs because they have to do it themselves. Your mindset will be enhanced. Now, with my health optimization and weight release, your body will be more efficient. So that's a mind-body connection that makes your heart and soul sing. And you need to go to this link, which is at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChanges.com/link tree to set up a complimentary consultation where you will get to know me and I get to know you, and I'll guide you to optimal health. And it begins with, these health assessments. And the first one is the health evaluation, where you will rate your symptoms in the last 30 days in 4 categories of health. Some questions overlap in multiple categories. Please answer them all. And you'll get a baseline score. I will review it with you. When you move forward with my services, I create that custom, natural, holistic strategy for you. And we will review this on a monthly basis to see your progress. Now, I have another way of doing this, which is called, which is 2 different Zyto scans. But I prefer to do the Zyto Vizera link because I can actually send this scan remotely, internationally, and I send it to Australia and South Africa. Vizera is a transdermal optical imaging app that I send a link to your phone. You're going to be scanning your face. It's going through your skin to see blood flow for components of energetic, functional, emotional, and different body systems and lifestyles. And it would create a wellness report. Now, that emotional part is such a hidden gem. So it's going to create a wellness report where you have biomarkers out of range, products and services that bring it back into range, and I will review it with you. The cost of the scan is $75, and if you move forward with my services, you get a $25 discount on a program or product. Now, I'll also give you a pack of 5 scans where you can save $50. That's called the Family Pack. Now, the Vizera link is a transdermal optical imaging app, also known as TOI. You can look up its accuracy at pubmed.gov. That's pubmed.gov. And it will show you how accurate it is. And you can also, when people take this, they're really amazed what their body tells them. So you can either ask me questions on my complimentary consultation, or you can get the scan done to see what everyone's talking about, because they really found it very valuable, that the body tells them what's going on. And on the same site, I have my programs. Take Your Body Back is a 12-week weight release mindset coaching program where you can utilize a new version of you to drive you to success. All coaching is done on Zoom. And the first one's always private to you because I'm a certified HIPAA health practitioner. So all health assessments are private. I'll go over those assessments. I give you a choice between 2 meal plans, directions on one, and I give you instructions how to create a new version of you and an avatar board that will drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformational goals throughout your journey. With the rest of the coaching, whether it's group or private, it's the same. We'll be celebrating your wins. I'll be showing you how to use your boards, and I'll guide you over gaps with health and mindset tips. You will become a new you. You're welcome to ask me questions at the private complimentary consultation. And you can also watch a previous episode, Holistic Self-Love, about this program. Just remember my process of Goma. Why Fast is an intermittent fasting program that gets your cells and body humming, in turn boosts your metabolism with rich, dense nutrition, high quality essential nutrients with the exercise and recipes. Here you would ask me questions. Remember, fasting will repair the cells, reduce inflammation, and also uplift your mood. Now, if you feel like you need some coaching, there is a 2 or 4-week program that you can utilize, and you can add on if you need to. You can also use these smaller programs for mindset enhancement as well as health optimization. But truly, that's a longer version. Probably the bigger program will work better for. I can also create a custom program for you. For a limited time, I'm offering Debi's Coaching Chats, which is a complimentary 30-minute coaching session in a group setting, and it's not recorded. As survey picks a topic, you'll learn how to optimize your health, ways to release stress and emotions, how to harmonize hormones for body balance, efficiently release weight, how to create a winning mindset, and create that new version in an avatar board that will drive you with emotion and passion to achieve your health and weight transformation goals throughout your journey. These meetings are on Tuesdays at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern, and you need to register for it. So it's at Debi Changes Lives, DebiChangesLives as in Victory ES.com/chats, CHES, and you'll learn what my coaching is all about. Finally, learn more about alternative health services, programs. Go back. Services, programs, offers, articles, blogs, upcoming shows, events, and promos. By subscribing to my newsletter at DebiChangesLives.com. But this time, /radio TV show, all in lowercase. And you get a gift, a 30-day health and mindset daily action journal where you can record your thoughts, feelings, emotions, and gratitude, food, water, supplements, and exercising on a daily basis. You can even track your measurements. And then you want to review it on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, see your wins and celebrate them, find your gaps to work on. If you need help bridging your gap, you contact me for coaching. This journal is a great health and mindset awareness tool. I'm certain you found this show educational, eye-opening, and enjoyed it. Reach out to me for my services, products, programs, and offers, and reach out to Michael for his services and offers. So can we have Michael come back?
I'm back.
Hi. So is there anything else you want to say before we, close it off?
Well, I just want to say how much I appreciate you having me on, and you've got a really great show here, and I love your approach and how you're trying to help folks holistically, starting with mind and body. I think that's wonderful. So that's something I'm trying to emulate in my own program. It's not just about any one thing, and it's really hard and can be very overwhelming when you're trying to fix your entire life at once. And so whether you're starting in the physical or the mental or the spiritual space, I think the most important thing is to just take the first step and start making progress. And remember that even a 1% change over the course of a year is a 37 times improvement. So just make those little steps each day.
Exactly. I completely agree. So thank you for being on my show. So continue to enjoy my radio and TV show, Debi Changes Lives, on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, where your holistic journey begins.